if somebody comes to you and has a house and says, Joe, you want to buy my house? How do we underwrite those deals? How do we buy houses? We've done this enough. This is really easy for us. I have a Google Sheet spreadsheet. I'm a full-time realtor, and I've either been a realtor or an underwriter of residential houses for purchase since 1998. I can comp houses in my dead sleep over and over and over again. So I go do the comps on the houses. I can tell them what it's worth in its current condition, what it's worth when we're gonna redo it, how much our WAG, our wild ass guess of what it's gonna cost to repair it, and I dump it into a spreadsheet, a Google Sheet spreadsheet that we've got.
So all that takes you 40 minutes.
Yeah. 20
and
to 40
almost
minutes.
on almost whatever we do.
Yep. I probably do that on, I don't know, I probably do that on 15 or 20 properties before any of them make it to Joe, and I probably mentally or physically run the comps on another 80 that never even make the spreadsheet.
So then when you bring it back to me, because we're truly opportunists, we look at the spreadsheet and
Joe challenges everything.
Feed off of each other. So Joe I challenge everything, and we even disclose this to many of the buyers, which is pretty interesting, or I think it's interesting. Where if we can buy the house, if we can do a WAG on the budget to repair it, if we can pay a basic return, and if we can make a dollar amount of $30,000 to $45,000, sometimes pushing 60.
Depending on how much money and time we have to invest.
And how big the project is and the nuances of the project. I mean, we might show that all to our seller.
I do.
And then we would also show that to our investors, in this case in the crowdfunding crowd. And then we would say then everything above that we share. And if when we look at the project, it looks like there's going to be something above that, then I'm either cold for just that I'm cold on some things, or I'm lukewarm, or I'm hot. And I hand it back to you, and then usually you noodle it for 1 or 2 or 3 days, depending on the motivation of the seller and whether we have to act or not. Then we decide to take down the project, and we take it down. We usually have no consideration to whether it's going to be crowdfunded or...
No, that's not even a part of the conversation until last year.
We either acquire it or we don't.
But that's not how we do or look at commercial deals almost at all. I mean, we still do a pro forma, but that's really quite a bit further down the road.
Well, we've talked off and on about being opportunists. That's really where you and I reside, is in that world of our opportunity, where we really don't go out and solicit lots of kinds of things methodically. We use your network and my background, and deals kind of come to us opportunistically. So on a commercial deal, if it comes to us, our quick and dirty is, if it's a building, is the ground and building at construction cost, is it worth less at that value or less? Yeah. Or if it's just the ground and we look at ground prices around it, are we getting a good value on the ground? Then we might take it down. Yeah. So doing, what to do with it in an actual end result in a commercial deal is different than in a residential deal.
I think who is more important than what to us a lot of time with the commercial deals.
Well, once we do, when I was talking about the residential, and you take the 2 or 3 days to noodle it, what we'll do with the commercial deal is, if it look, tastes, and smells correct, then we will usually go to a partner. And those partners in our network are partners that'll help us either do the development and construction, or possibly the end user, if we're repositioning it. And that really then tells us whether it's the opportunity or not. We might have it under contract, but we also might not. And we really lean hard on those partners to know what they're doing, and that's the relationships we've built. So in closing, we've talked about the opportunistic side, and we've talked about the partners, how critical some of these sponsors or partners are becoming, especially on the commercial side. But what you and I have always brought to the table is opportunism and creative financing. I mean, that's really the role I've been taking more and more on the creative financing side. And I'm surprised at the number of people who are either really good at remodeling, or really good at developing, or really good at some aspect of the real estate business that we're participating in, but financing, they just don't know how to do it. So usually when we come to the table, which includes our discussion of crowdfunding, we're creative enough and experienced enough that we bring the right financing to the table, and that's the crux of the deal, and that's part of what makes us successful and a good partner with our co-sponsors in your network.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell people when you're not there, oftentimes you're my write the check man, and that's what it is for me. It's been very different at very different times, but I've always felt confident enough that if I saw an opportunity, even if I maybe didn't have clearance to spend that money that day, if it was a good opportunity and I captured the right opportunity, the money would be there. And I think that's kind of illustrative of what you say. We bring the financing package to the opportunity, and that's hopefully what we can bring to crowds of normal people too.
Exactly. We're highly confident in the delivery.